Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana, and I am so excited to be celebrating 10 years of meaningful conversations with you. As we step into our new primetime hour, it's such an honor to share this exciting new chapter with you. So whether you're starting your day out, headed to work, or listening from wherever you are, this hour is designed to bring you thoughtful dialogue, fresh insight, and inspiring stories so you can make every moment count. So thank you for being here with me today, and let's dive in. We're here today with special guest, India Holton, who's here to share with us her new novel, The Antiquarians' Object of Desire. So can pretending to be enemies protect your reputation or reveal everything you've been trying to hide? Well, today's guest is here to share with us just that. India Holton is a USA Today, Indie, and international best-selling New Zealand author. All of her books have been bestsellers, and The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels was a New York Times notable book of 2021. So welcome to the show, India Holton.
Hi, so lovely to be here.
Well, what a delight it is to have you here and to talk about your books. I am so intrigued with this series, but before we dive into the book that we're going to talk about today, can you share with us, because I know this is the third in the series, can you share with us the first two books?
Okay, so the first book was The Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love, which is about two professors whose job is to chase magical birds and capture them if they're causing trouble to people. And they have a summer road trip in search of a very special magical bird, and they find more special things along the way. The second book is The Geographer's Map to Romance, which is about a couple who married for convenience, but then pretty much immediately separated. And now they have to get back together to go to Wales to tend to a magical disaster there. And shenanigans ensue, as they say.
That sounds pretty exciting. So, what inspired you to write the third book?
Well, it's a book about historians, and so it's very dear to my heart because I love studying history. It's been my hobby for more decades than I wish to admit. And so this was my chance to really indulge in that.
So, can you share with us a little bit about the story without giving away any spoilers?
Yep. So it's about two professors of history at Oxford in England, back in the Victorian times, but it's an alternate Victorian times. So it's set in the same universe as the previous two books where magic exists. And they study magical antiques. They've been best friends all their lives, but because she's a woman and he's a man, they are not supposed to be too close. And when it's deemed that they have become too friendly, they decide to take up fake hating to pretend to everybody that they hate each other so that people stop hassling them about it. And this causes all kinds of chaos. And so they're sent off to the countryside to catalogue a collection of antiques, and things go downhill from there.
Oh my goodness. It sounds like because they can't stand each other, they're fake hating each other, they're forced to do some type of work together when that's not really the case.
Yes, yes. So they've got to pretend to hate each other, even though they're like best friends and they don't really like anybody else. So, um, it's hopefully a fun situation.
So, what even inspired the idea of this magical world that you have your book set in?
Well, I previously wrote a series based in the same time period, more or less, which also involved magic. And I really enjoyed working in that time period. And I still had a lot of things to say about the life of women back in the Victorian era and really how it mirrors so much of what women have to go through today. And so I wanted to stay in that time era, but to bring in a new kind of magic. And I was inspired by, for example, games like Dragonology. I don't know if you've ever played it, but it's about Victorian era people chasing around the country, in fact, chasing around the world looking for dragons. And so that was one of my inspirations, just to have that normal life, but there's magic involved as well.
So I've never played that game, but I sure want to do it. So that sounds pretty intriguing. I want to chase travel the world and look for dragons. That sounds like that
Me
would be a
too.
fun game.
Yeah.
Well, and I love how your work really blends like romance and humor and very much the unexpected. So, what tone were you aiming for in creating this story?
So I am hoping that people will appreciate the satire that underlies it, because it is all my books are fun rom-coms with a historical fantasy milieu to them, but they are all written with a kind of a dark sense of humor or quite satirical, and so I hope people will pick that up.
Well, and I really appreciate how your books, and especially this book, is set in like this academic setting, and it provides this very unique narrative to your story. What do you enjoy most about writing within that world?
I just found the whole thing very fun, trying to compare, or rather, to put all these madcap adventures inside a very staid, boring, very rules bound system. And to also use that as a way to explore misogyny and prejudice and how women fought against the pressures against them to become their best selves. It's really hard to explain.
Well, and it's very interesting because I think you touch on such themes that we are, compelled to look at today. There's just so much that women are faced with and have to deal with. And I love how you build these themes within your book. I think it has the reader really kind of thinking about themselves and the world that they live in now.
To me, it's really, it's not just about, for me, women in general, but also how individual women, want to be these unique, complex people, but society puts them into little boxes. And I'm really interested in exploring how women can find the strength and the courage and the self love to break out of those boxes and find a way to be their true selves.
That's such a big deal. Hey, you write with such wit throughout the book. I mean, people pick it up, and you're just laughing throughout the whole book. And there are very serious parts and parts where they're like, "Oh my gosh, it really touches my heart." So, how do you approach crafting dialogue that feels both playful and meaningful?
Honestly, I wish I knew. I'm not funny in real life at all. I sort of approach humor as quite a structured thing, with all these different rules that I just somehow slot into. But when I'm writing, I kind of like switch my brain over almost to a different way of thinking, and I really let my characters speak for themselves. So if I find that if I have built a character to have a real deep sense of personality within my mind, then they will basically write themselves, I guess you could say, which is quite convenient because, as I say, I really wouldn't have any idea how to tell a joke in real life. Yeah, I can hardly, you know, make a conversation make sense sometimes.
I think we all feel that way. I'll tell you, I do that many times myself. And it's just interesting how you're able to. I mean, it sounds like these characters are building the world that they live in such a way that maybe even vicariously you're living through them.
Yeah, I find that once I get into the world and the headspace of writing, it really takes on its own momentum. And I think it's about developing a really specific voice, and that voice especially after all these years of writing, and it really knows what it's doing. It knows how to form the story and how to create sentences that all kind of fit into that voice. So it's almost like a particular language or a way of speaking.
So, again, without giving too much away, was there like a challenge that the characters had to face that pushed them beyond their comfort zone in your book?
Yes, yeah. Both of them had challenges of their own that were quite different from each other, um, but they had a lot to do with their their relationship and how they see each other and feel about each other, but also about their relationship with themselves and with their past, which I think is appropriate for historians to, have to interrogate their own past as well as the past that they're studying. Um, so there was a lot of personal stuff that they had to deal with, more than having to deal with external action the whole way through the book.
Well, one of the things I love about your book is these elements of magical antiques. Can you tell us what drew you to this?
Well, I knew I wanted to write about historians, and it took me a while to work out what angle to approach that, whether I wanted to do ghosts or time travel. Um, but then I struck upon the idea of antiquarians because it's actually a whole big thing back in the past about the difference between antiquarians and real historians and so on. And that really intrigued me. So that's why I picked up that idea and went with it. And then I realized that actually antiques were a great way to bring magic into the story. And especially the sort of magic I write about, which tends to be quite dramatic and explosive. So,
I love that. Can you share with us one antique that is magical that's in your story?
yeah, I particularly like a beer mug that they find, which has a rather dramatic magic to it. Um, yeah, it's actually based on a beer mug that was in my own family. You lift the lid and it starts to sing. And it's really, yes, this one is quite dramatic.
I think there are a lot of people asking, well, I need a beer mug that will talk. I love that. So, having the drama
Not
come.
this one.
That might be a little much. I with this wonderful series, the Love Academic series. My goodness, how does really the story kind of expand or deepen with the world that you've created?
Well, actually, each of the stories is a standalone, so you can read them in any order, or you can just read one and don't read the other two, although I don't recommend that. But yeah, so it's it's basically the same world the whole way through, and just showing it to you from different angles and different perspectives of different characters. But I do like to hope that the characters themselves deepen the thoughts that I had when I was writing the books, and that the series ends in a way that not only satisfies that current book, the Antiquarian's Object of Desire, but also satisfies the whole series and the thoughts and the questions that people might have had when they were reading through the books.
What do you hope readers and our listeners take away from your books?
I really hope that they have fun and that they have a good time and laugh, but also that my books will give them a respite from the difficult times that we're in at the moment and the just the travails of regular life. I just hope that my books are like a cozy, comforting time where you can have fun and just like forget your troubles for a while.
Well, I think that that is perfect. I know so many people would want a great book that's a page turner to escape to, and your books definitely do that. Where can our listeners connect with you and be part of your community and learn more about your work?
Mostly I'm on Instagram, and so they can find me at instagram.com India.Holton, I think it is. And I'm also on Threads as well. And every now and then I pop up on TikTok, but not very often because I don't do very well with videos. So, but Instagram is definitely the place to look for me.
Oh my goodness. Well, India, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Oh, it's lovely being here and so nice meeting you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, India. It's been such an honor to spend this time with you. Make sure to visit her website, indiaholton.com, for more information on her work and to be part of her community. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You're listening to Moments with Marianne, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary. A recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.